Oh boy, it's really been a while. Well, here we go. This video will be about the weird things that I guess I should really start doing now that I actually want to grow on this platform. The things so small and insignificant that no YouTuber making tutorials on successful YouTubing would actually tell you or me about them. First thing on the list, sound like a girl. Check. Second thing. I'm Plot Armor Academy and I make vaguely educational content. Okay, this is not working for me. How can I be Plot Armor Academy? I'm not a building or the essence of an educational system distilled into a human vessel. How about I'm unpaid intern, Plot Armor Academy representative. Would make more sense in universe, just meta enough to work within the confines of my world, I guess. In case you're just now realizing I'm not actually the smartest cookie, when I created this YouTube channel, I never considered that I would actually have to introduce myself as whatever the name of the channel is. Not only that, in my infinite wisdom, I thought if I just stop introducing myself, that problem is gonna go away, right? Wrong. Because we all know the average person watching YouTube in bed while playing The Sims 4 with the TV turned on but muted in the background has about the same attention span as the goldfish I certainly had but never actually knew about because my attention span sucks so much. That's why people talk needlessly fast in YouTube videos and also why they have to keep telling viewers who they are at the beginning of each and every episode. Because continuity isn't something the algorithm takes into account when it force feeds you new content on that recommended section. So yeah. That's not that big of a deal. I hear your second personality from the right whisper in your mind. Why not just rename the channel? Well, because I can't, Sharon. Renaming your channel is a service you can access to once you actually have an amount of viewers that is simply beyond my reach for reasons unknown. Of course, I could just start fresh with a new account and try to get it right, but that's not what I'm about. What I am about is starting from literally zero and somehow making it all work. Exactly. I'm re-zeroing YouTube and Webtoon at the same time. Not quite playing life on hard mode because I got a roof over my head, plenty of food and a pretty nice PC setup, but let's say I'm playing life on adept difficulty with a survival mod installed. In case I haven't lost you all on that analogy, I want to clarify that I'm not about redos. No. You see that Plot Armor Academy dubbed video on my channel? It's god awful and cringy, but I did it with my friends in one go and then just said, we'll fix it in post. And when I saw it for the first time, after outsourcing the editing to one of those very friends, it was this beautiful masterpiece of in-jokes and nuances that none of you will ever get to see because they all got cut out. And that's what makes me happy on the inside. Denying people the pleasure they never knew they could have had. The gentleman's way of passive aggression. If the content I put out is never quite perfect but still gets better with each individual upload, one day it will just be pretty good content, right? That's pretty much what I'm trying to do here. Everything sticks. Speaking of sticky situations and perfect segues, I'm in a very sticky situation here. I'm just a regular administrative fourth wall breaker. How am I supposed to clean up this artist's mess of a narrative? Supplementary courses? Actually, that's not too bad of an idea. I could express it over the meaningless convention you existing people call storytime, I think. I've heard for some ungodly reason Dungeons & Dragons adventures were popular, so here's one of my personal experiences from that genre. Everything started out nice and normal. We were isekai'd into another world with no idea on how to get back and had to take up the adventuring life to make money. Unfortunately for us though, one of the items we were given by our poor DM as a reward for the second quest we did was a small bag of magical beans. Now, magical beans are a fun little item that when planted cause various random effects from summoning a blue campfire to growing a pyramid with its own mummy lord inside. Not that any of us knew that when we got the item. So, of course we had to try it out and it wasn't that bad. It sprouted into a huge sentient tree that decided to tell us a story, and since one of the players insisted he wanted to hear the entire story of the slow talking tree, we were stuck there for like 2 days. It wasn't even that good of a story. But because everyone else was bored and we just so happened to have more beans, we decided to pass the time by planting more of them. One of the beans turned the sorcerer into a bean, and we had to grow another beanstalk to get him out again. This really should have been a warning for us to stop messing with the magical legumes, but what can I say? Our players were idiots. The next bean was seemingly nice and turned into a huge and extremely luxurious tent, but also compelled half of the party to stay inside it and never leave. When the last sane guy in our group tried to get everyone else out, the sorcerer turned into a potted plant and the cleric threw a temper tantrum. It was at this point that one of the roaming monsters of the area, a snake the size of a train, also got entranced by the tent and curled up around it, placing its enormous head in the entrance. So for about a week, the party and the snake, who we called Reuben, had a great time inside the tent, while our poor fighter desperately tried to find a way to get everyone out of this mess. His solution? Plant more beans. The results were mixed. One of the beans turned into a fountain of youth, one of them made our gnome huge, and the last one turned into a big blue egg. None of which were any help in our situation, but the magic of the tent eventually subsided and the party ran away from the giant snake like the heroes they were. The gnome had decided to take the blue egg with him, but the fighter, who was at this point so unbelievably fed up with everything bean related, just smashed it into pieces, murdering the baby dragon inside and mentally scarring everyone involved. Moral of the story? Existing in the imagination of higher dimensional beings can be both terrifying and hilarious. Now, I'm still a bit uncomfortable to invoke the name of such a powerful concept, since praying to the almighty algorithm does quite literally sacrifice part of my essence. Know that only after a long session of meditation and an unhealthy amount of mind-altering substances am I actually willing to say from the depths of the void where my soul used to reside. I have been Unpaid Intern, your Plot Armor Academy representative. If you want to support me and everyone working on this project, please subscribe to the channel. You can find links to the comic in the description. I hope you enjoyed and have a nice day. Now get back to work.